What's good, YouTube, and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be going over a few ways that you can take long control, and if anyone's wondering, the map that I am using is refrag.gg. You can use code POLO on their site for 15% off your first month, and I'll leave 10 free trial codes down in the description for you guys. So first off, I'm going to go over some ground rules for taking long control. If you're going to be one of the players who's fighting, generally you're going to have 3 players fighting long. If you're going to be one of the front players fighting, and you know you won't be using your flashes, drop your flashes on corner so that third guy who will be flashing will have just extra flashes behind you guys if the fight takes like a long time. Maybe you throw initial flashes and they try and late pop, the T's try and late pop, your teammate can flash behind you. It just makes a lot more sense for your guy corner to have more flashes than you do. The next ground rule is the op should never really cross towards pit, and the reason why is because let's think of this from a rifle perspective and an opper perspective. If you're playing decent players, when they come long, they're going to flash when they're coming out late, which means that your op and pit will either have to take a shot or hide, and now you're in a scenario where you're right here, they can be anywhere along this area, and if the T's come out long quickly off that flash, look at the position you're in with an op now. You're backed up into this corner. It would be much better to have a rifle in this scenario because then you can get a kill, maybe multi-frag, like switch these angles. And this is why you'll see a lot of pro players pick up rifles and clutches, is because it's easier to multi-frag with a rifle than with an op. Yes, you can have more consistent rounds where you get multi-frags with the op, but it takes a longer amount of time. You can get quicker multi-frags with a rifle. This is pretty basic. And the last ground rule I want to talk about is this smoke molly bug mechanic right now in CS2. And the reason why this is important for long is because commonly you'll be smoking doors and you'll be mollying blue box. Now the issue is if you throw a smoke that's puffy and you throw a blue box molly that's also puffy, look at what the T's can do here. They can come out of this smoke into this molly essentially and just play around the smoke. I'm still not getting burned. That entire time I was not getting burned. I can see all the way halfway to pit when I'm pretty much standing in a molly. So this is extremely important when you're taking long control. You don't want to have puffy door smokes, and that's why I'll show you a lineup soon when I get into the long takes that will eliminate this bug. So the first long take I'm going to go over isn't really team specific. You can kind of do this in your pugs, and this is why I want to talk about this one first, is because it's pretty easy to do alone. If you have a duo with you, then yeah, you could have him maybe smoke doors after you molly it, but I'll get into the take right now just so I can show you. So you'll come over here. You'll throw this thing called, I call it a tooth smoke. You just aim to the right of this tooth. You come up towards long. You molly doors. Your teammate flashes or something. You could also flash for yourself. And you come through the smoke. And the reason why this is okay is because if they're over here holding you, they get blind by the flash. They can't be in long doors because it's mollied. And now you're in this position. Now you could have a teammate come over here. He could molly blue box. He could smoke doors. And now you're over here, close blue box. He's corner, he can swing to pit behind that smoke. It doesn't matter if the T's smoke corner because your smoke is in front of it. That molly could force the T outside of blue box, and now you're double fighting a guy solo stuck blue box in a molly. You should be coming out on top of this round. Now, if we're talking about a team setting, I don't think that this take is too good. There's a lot better ways that you can take long, and I'll show it in the video. But in a pug setting, that's pretty much as good as you could ask for if you are, solo queued or something like that. Yes, you can coordinate more complicated stuff, but that's at least some sort of consistent long control that you can run just pretty much alone. Now, before I get into the next long take, I'd like you guys to check out today's sponsor. The sponsor for today's video is SkinPlace, the best site for converting your skins into cold hard cash. It literally takes seconds to set up your account and get to trading. Just log into Steam, plug in your trade URL, select from the wide variety of payment methods they have, and just sell. It's that easy. Once you've converted a certain amount of skins to cash, you can get bonus rewards that scale up with how much you've sold, offering a way for you to earn more for your skins. As you can see, I sold 3 skins to SkinPlace, and within 10 seconds of completing the trade, I saw that money pop up in my crypto wallet. Make sure to use my referral code POLOCS for a 3% bonus on your first trade, and get to converting in just minutes. Now for the next take, the first spawn is going to go ahead and drop a flash corner. He's going to run up over here, play anti-flash this whole time so you don't get blind for free while you're running up. Smoke doors and instantly play anti-flash. And the reason why you want to instantly play anti-flash here is because the T's can't kill you. It doesn't matter. You don't have to turn around and hold this. They can't be on you yet. And the only thing that will happen if you look at corner is you will get blind. You get nothing from looking at corner because they can't be here and they can flash you. The second guy will do is he'll come over here. He'll also drop a flash on corner. He'll run around the first teammate, go a little wide so he doesn't block his first teammate, and he'll just molly blue box as quickly as he can. And again, after he throws the molly, he'll just sit here and play anti-flash. And the third guy has a pretty easy job. He's just going to come over to corner, pick up the dropped flashes, and he's just going to hold the flashes for corner. Now, there's 2 flashes that you can throw here. You can throw a flash right here above this T, and the way that that will pop is it will blind anyone coming outdoors. It won't necessarily get all of blue box. If they're close to blue box, that flash pops behind the blue box. That's why you throw the second flash after the first flash, and what you do is you aim in the bottom right of this garage. You crouch and you jump throw, and this flash will get anyone forced out by the molly. It will get anyone stuck in blue box over here, because it will pop right over there. And this second flash is the one that you want to be swinging off of. What this will look like from the CTs is doors is smoked, blue box is mollied, flash goes off somewhere over here, and then they just swing, right? This should all be free. Now, you also want to talk about with your team protocols for if the Ts disrupt your normal takes. And this goes for map-wide stuff. If you're playing Mirage and you're taking mid, you want to have a protocol if the Ts, I don't know, smoke your box Molotov or try and late pop after you guys throw utility. You always want to talk about protocols, and a protocol I'll talk about for this is, let's say you do this util, you smoke doors, you molly the blue box, and they smoke the molly. What you can do now is you haven't used your nades yet. Now you can double nade blue box, so if he is blue box, he's low, and it will nade the smoke. So you can also double peek after you double nade, and yeah, this will just be a free 2v1 on a guy who's low HP in the middle of the open. And this is a pretty decent protocol. Now, after your teammate flashes long for you, you want the guy with the smoke crossing the pit. And the reason why is because if the Ts try and repop, he can drop a smoke like this. He can play around it. He can delay for a rotate so that maybe this guy who's over here watching Cat from Game Helper, something like this, can come over and help towards long corner, and then boom, you have a double long fight. This also allows for some pretty weird angles from the T's perspective. So yeah, having a smoke when you're anchoring a spot like long is really important, or you could late smoke long doors if you want to reposition somewhere else. And how I threw that is I just aim the bottom right of the window. It's pretty loosey-goosey when you're throwing it. And yeah, it's going to be a consistent long smoke. You can smoke that if you want to reposition. You can come back up over here. You can go to this angle, which I see some pro players play, because the flash that normally pops right here won't blind you. And I know I've elaborated on this first long take for a pretty long time, but it's good to get the basics down before we get into the other more complicated stuff. Now, the next take I'm going to show you is going to be spawn-based as well, because when you're taking long, you want it to be fast. So the first guy's going to come over here and throw this smoke lineup. He gets into this little corner at the box. He aims on the far left of this smudge where it meets with this bar on the top of the building. You just go ahead and normal jump through the smoke. So it will pop on top of this box right here. And from the perspective of corner, it doesn't puff out, so you can't get the molly bug that I was talking about earlier. Now, even though you're the first spawn, because you threw the smoke, your teammates with the worst spawns will now be in front of you, which means you're now in charge of holding flashes for your teammates, throwing them on the right time. And you want to be throwing the flashes when your teammates are calling them, or based off of the T's flashes when you think that they're running out is when you want to be blinding them. Now this second guy will drop a flash corner. He'll run over towards long, playing anti-flash this whole time so he doesn't get blind. And he'll go ahead and molly blue box just like all the other rounds. And when the flashes come, because this guy hasn't used his smoke, and it was the first spawn that used his smoke, this guy will be the person swinging to pit so he can have his smoke for the same reasons I talked about in the last round. Now the third guy is going to go ahead and drop flashes here as well. He's going to come over to corner, and he's going to play anti-flash the entire time. Even while his teammate is swinging out, yes, he'll peek early, but then he'll instantly play anti-flash. And the reason for this is if the Ts are going to be fighting, they're going to be fighting immediately on these angles. Because again, you mollied blue box, so the T has to be out here in the open. You don't want to be peeking this for longer than you need to, because the only thing that will happen if you peek this after you see that it's clear is you will get flashed, they will pop on you, and you will be blind when they're coming out, potentially isolating your player in pit. So as soon as the flash comes in from your teammate, you peek, you check this, you play anti-flash again, you wait for your teammate to get to a safe position in pit, the guy who is flashing rotates over, and then you come back over and pick up Cat. Now this third team take has a lot of moving parts, and there's a lot of different ways you can run this round. The main important concept behind it is that your opper is long and he doesn't need a ton of support. So you're going to be running this round when your opper has the best spawn. Yes, he might drop a flash corner, he doesn't necessarily need to, but he's going to come over long, and he's going to post on long doors. Now, think of all the other rounds we were talking about when you take long. You're throwing a ton of util, you're making it very obvious that you took long. If your opper's going to post up, they won't be able to hear him scope, and you're generally not going to be flashing for this guy until he shoots, because when he shoots is when the Ts are probably coming out. Again, the concept I was talking about before, you want to flash when the Ts are out in the open. But basically, if the Ts don't go long early, and there's no reason for this opper to shoot, from the T's perspective, the CTs have made no noise on long, so they probably haven't done a very extensive long take. Now, this will do one of two things. This will either prompt the Ts to go out long late, or this will prompt them to maybe try and pressure Cat a little bit before they go long, because they think they're ahead of the game. They want to make it look like they're taking Cat before they take long, so long would be even weaker once they start to try and take Cat. And this is kind of the push and pull mind game part of CS. You only really get this in team play. You'll never really get this in Pugs. But that's why this is the most kind of advanced setup that I'm going to be going over. So because this player doesn't really need that much support, he's pretty much going to be alone on long. So what the second spawn is going to do is he's going to come over here and stand on the very corner of this box. And the reason why you stand on the corner of this box is because look at how fast this fast cat was. If I were to do the normal fast cat and come over here, he has to jump on his head, he has to jump up, and this is just going to be a lot slower than just, you know, jumping once off this guy's head and then sprinting towards cat. So after this guy has gotten fast catted, all he's going to do is just jump spot lower. And the reason why he's jump spotting lower is because the mid guy has came over here and he smoked Sui. Just like this, you just come over anywhere as long as you're not peeking suicide, and you aim anywhere in this rectangle just towards the center, and this will generally always pop right in the middle of suicide. Now, after you throw that smoke, you get close, and you want to do this before this smoke pops so you get the molly off quick enough. And the reason why you get close is because you're doing it fast. They could still be suicide peeking on you. But anyway, you get up here, you molly top mid, and just like that, think of what this looks like from the T's perspective. The CTs have thrown nothing on long. They've thrown a ton of util in mid, so this will just pressure the T's to be even more likely to try and walk out long, maybe pop out long, do it somewhat silently because they think the CTs are playing on mid. So this is a good example of push and pull. You're not doing too much on long, you just have the opper posted up. You're doing a ton on mid, so you're trying to push the T's into going long, into going into your op. After your opper gets the kill, he can fall back over here, maybe get a boost on the site from his teammate. Now he can op site. And this is how you'll see a lot of pro rounds play out, is you have the opper in some sort of position early round, going for some sort of pick, falls back, gets supported by teammates, goes to a good solid long range opping angle, and just plays high percentages while the rest of his team just throws stuff to try and force the enemy into the op. Now, I also want to say for the guy who is boosting, after you're done boosting, you want to come over and hold flashes for your opper if he does end up shooting, because again, if he shoots, they're probably coming out. You want to flash for him so that he can get away. And then this is, again, a perfect scenario where the opper can fall back, you boost him onto site, etc, etc. But yeah, that's going to be it for today's video. A lot of little nitty-gritty kind of micro, macro decision-making stuff. But I will be doing videos on different ways to play on mid, different ways to play in tons, and more in-depth defaults that you can run on T side. I really want to be diving into Dust 2 because a lot of players see this map as kind of just an aim map, but there is a lot of different things that you can do on it. With that being said, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to leave a like and a sub, and I'll see you guys in the next one.